Ben, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
That's good. How was your journey down?
Smooth,
That's
surprisingly.
good.
So yeah, happy
Where,
days.
where are you living at the moment?
At the minute in Plymouth,
Oh,
so I've
lovely.
been there for a while.
Let's get right into it. Let's tell us a little bit about your teenage years and how you got into the Marines.
Yeah, so I'm originally from a place called Nuneaton in the Midlands. I moved to Plymouth when I was about 12.
Mm.
So I remember Nuneaton a little bit, but Plymouth's mainly my home. I'm now 38, so I've been there since then. And yeah, had a pretty normal childhood. I got one brother, four sisters,
Mm.
mum, dad. So yeah, all pretty normal. Went to normal school, got normal grades, and I had a plan from when I was about 13, 14 as to what I wanted to do and what I wanted to be. So as soon as I got to that age and you start taking school a bit more seriously and
Mm-hmm.
grades and whatever, um, in my case, my plan was to join the Royal Marines. I knew it was the hardest you could join the armed forces, really. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought, yeah, I reckon I'll give it a go.
Why did you pick the Marines out of all of the forces?
Well, mainly because my uncle's in the Royal Marines
Okay.
and he fell off a motorbike and I think the peg ripped off some of his calf muscle or something. So when he was going through rehab, I was a kid
Mm.
and I just went running with him one day as he was trying to get himself back to fitness. And yeah, I just thought I want to be one of those dudes because I saw him with his friends at a wedding as well once, and all these big, massive blokes wearing the
Yeah.
uniform and not the uniform, just they were like big, hard-looking men kind of thing. And then I heard a little bit about Marines were the toughest and whatever else. And as a young kid, I thought, yeah, that's what I want to do. So
Mm.
I wanted to. I was quite fit and strong as a kid, so I wanted to do something like that. Could play football, used to box a bit as well, but I weren't pursuing it as a professional, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
So at that age, I should have been going down that route if that's what I wanted to do, really. I thought I want a physical job,
Mm.
and the Royal Marines was, I think, the pinnacle before Special Forces. So that was the first step.
So you went in when you were 18.
Yeah,
So what was that like?
yeah. So I started training, I think, when I was 17. The way it works is like you do, it's called like a PRMC, or now it's called a CPC.
Mm.
It's like a job interview, but a physical one. So there's like 100 of you there in a field,
Yeah.
and for a weekend they just get you running around doing press ups, sit ups, pull ups, swimming. You live outside for a day or whatever, and if you pass that, let's say 50, 60 pass,
Mm.
then you get to start actual training. So you get a joining date a few weeks later or 3 months later. And then in my case, there was 67 of us who started training, and only after 32 weeks, 11 of us got through.
Mm.
So training is it's more like the elements, it's the weather. So they might ask you to run 10 miles, for example,
Yeah.
but when it's like minus whatever and it's literally freezing cold, then they dunk you in water. So you're dripping wet and it's minus. Now it's hard. So it was hard anyway, but that makes it really hard. People start quitting, or it's stupidly hot. You're carrying loads of weight. Obviously get injuries, loads of shin splints, people breaking legs, falling off things. And then some people just ain't good enough. So the numbers drop. So by the time you get like halfway through, from 67, you may have like, I don't know, 25, 30. And then that's the second phase where you actually start, um, your fitness is already there now.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like they can teach you how to be a soldier. So you do lots of map reading in the dark, walking across Dartmoor, doing your navigation skills, shooting, obviously, carrying loads of weight, but it's like, it's not just rubbish, it's like ammunition, a little bit of water, a little bit of food, and lots of fighting, basically. In our case, like I remember the Afghan war just started, or not long started. I watched a bit of it on TV, just some bombs dropping, and I thought, I reckon I'll be going there soon if I get through. So yeah, like all the training that we were doing was almost like a beat up to getting through and then going to actual war itself.
The Afghan war was starting, and then you decided to sign up to the Marines.
No, so the Afghan war was all I'd already told myself I was joining up and I was going through training.
Mm.
And when the war was kicking off big time where everyone had to go there,
Yeah.
I knew that if I got through my training, I was going to be sent there.
Did that not scare you?
No, because it's like I'll be doing my actual job. It's
Mm.
like pretend fighting with like blank rounds, blank bullets,
Okay.
pretending to shoot and all that kind of stuff. That's what
Mm-hmm.
obviously you have to do. Sometimes we do live firing exercises where it's real rounds, we call it bullets. But then you're shooting like a wooden target or a tree, if you know what I mean.
Mhm. Mhm.
Not saying you want to go out and kill people or whatever, but
Yeah.
like you want to actually go and do your job.
Do your job, yeah.
So it's weird when it sounds bad, like I want to go to war.
Mhm.
That never crossed my mind. It was just that is part of my job as well.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go and do that side of my job as well as if there was a flood in the UK, I might have to help people with the flood. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
there's another side to it. So yeah, when I got through, passed out in training, I was based in Taunton, where I joined my unit there, so your new home basically. There's like 1,000 or 2,000 men there, and from there they're like, right, you're gonna go to Afghanistan. So you carry on with the training, but it's all like live ammunition now.
Mhm.
Getting used to the sounds of things, and you have like some guys who've been injured or actors or whatever, where they've lost their legs and then they put fake blood in it and all that, and act like they've just been blown up. So you can kind of, it's not the same almost when you see it in real life, but getting your head around it a little bit and putting
Mm.
tourniquets on, and so you do all that kind of stuff, and then you get your date where you're gonna go and like fight for real. I was mentally ready, physically ready. Um, so yeah, I just told my parents.
What did your parents think about
Nothing
you?
really, like, you know, if like you hear on the news like someone got kidnapped or something, you think that
Mhm.
would never happen to me because I'd do this and I'd do that. But I bet they thought the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like that, like someone's gonna get killed obviously or injured, but it won't be me.
Mhm.
It'd be probably someone else, if you know what I mean. So my mum and dad were like, "What if you get killed?" What, like they were just like, "Oh, okay, it won't be Ben will be fine," kind of thing. So, and that's what
Mhm.
I believed as well.
Yeah.
I was like, "You have to, or else you just be scared for 6 months." So even though I knew it was out there, I just thought, "Nah, I'll be fine." Literally didn't cross my mind. I just thought, go out there, obviously fight. I'll always win the fight, and then come home after 6 months.
What was the plane ride like down to Afghanistan?
It's a to get to Afghanistan, it's a normal plane, just like a Ryanair type of
Are you
flight. Yeah,
seriously?
yeah, yeah. When you get there, it's all military kind of stuff.
Oh,
But to
okay.
get there, it's just like a normal plane. Then when you get there, you're on big Chinook helicopters,
Yeah.
where you sat in the back of an open thing. Now, sometimes you get like the big Hercules and all that. So when
Yeah.
I got injured, when I got to it later, like that's what I flew back on.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But yeah, you don't get like, because it's like an 8, 9 hour flight. You don't
Mm.
just sat there. So yeah, we're on like a normal plane.
So you guys go together and then oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, we got the whole, call it like a company or unit or whatever. So
Mm.
like, let's say 1,000 men go out there in dribs and drabs. And yeah, we land in a place called, I think the first place is like a place called Kandahar, so like the airport
Mhm.
basically. Then from there you get a flight, as in Chinook helicopter, so like an
Yeah.
actual military plane, to Camp Bastion. It's like it was the size of Reading at one point, so all the main hospitals are there.
Mhm.
If a celebrity was going to go out there and sing, for example,
Yeah.
that's where they go because it's relatively safe. It will take a lot for them to get right in, if
In
you know what I
there.
mean.
Okay.
And that's, yeah, from there you get told whereabouts you go in our case Kajaki, so the mountain ranges.
Mhm.
Then you train out there for about 2 weeks, get used to acclimatization because it's like different climate out there, calibrate your weapons in case they've been smacked on the plane, so when you shoot this way it's going that way, kind of thing. Then you get sent out to your, what you call a forward operating base. It's like your home. Some people it's tents, some people it's like a building that's been blown up and you just live in it, kind of thing. We had like it looked like I don't know what it was actually. It could have been like a let's say for example it was like an old school. It wasn't a
Mhm.
school, but like a bombed out kind of school, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And we just went inside there and just lived inside these little rooms.
Most people think, oh, obviously you're going to war and stuff like that, but and do you have a specific job that you have to go there for?
Yeah, everyone. So, for example, our job was, because it's weird because you never know the bigger picture. Like we only
Yeah.
fight where we fight.
Mhm.
So even like when you're there, you can hear like commotion 10K down the road, but you wouldn't know what it was about.
Mhm.
And we don't really always communicate. The bosses do. They see the
Yeah.
bigger picture, but as a lad, you're just on the ground. So our job was to protect a dam.
Mhm.
The Taliban would come in and try and just destroy it and stop everyone getting water and gain access to this, that, and the other. Um, so our job was to protect that. But weirdly, they were never actually there. They were always out there somewhere. So most of our fighting was, we'd watch the dam,
Mhm.
but all the fighting that we actually did was like running through Birmingham city centre kind of thing. Like that's where all the scrapping was, in and out of buildings and
Yeah.
whatever. So yeah, we had a job, protect the dam, but nothing actually happened to the dam. I've always been quite confident in myself anyway. And there was a few instances where you're fighting and it was like, almost got killed then. Like getting shot at's one thing, but almost literally getting killed was like, whoa, that was so close kind of thing. And that happened a few times. Then you get guys get killed or injured. You know, some guy gets a leg blown off. A bomb landed in one of the guy's laps and ripped off most of his face and whatever. And even though like you've seen bits and bob before, you start to think like, man, this is getting like proper, like serious kind of thing. And there's months left of the tour. So I remember one of the lads was like, mate, we've got to win every single duel that we have. Every fight we have, we've literally got to win, or else you're dead, because you're not punching everyone.
Yeah.
So it's not like you go home with a black eye.
You're actually fighting
So
for
if
your
you
life,
lose a
aren't you?
fight,
Yeah.
you're dead,
Mm-hmm.
or you've been shot badly or something like that. So it was like loads, not pressure, but like, man, like this is serious. So I remember like not feeling bad or low, but just like there's quite a few times where it was like there's only so many times you can survive, just if you know what I mean, before you're gonna get hit. And I started to feel a bit like that. And then this one day I woke up and my mind, my own voice just said like, you're gonna get killed today or injured at least. And I think it was my voice. It sounded like me, but it didn't come back. So I was like, oh, I wasn't sure exactly who said it, but I knew it was in my mind, if you know what I mean. But I thought, because I normally listen to myself. So I was like, that's weird. So I got up, got ready, and we used to have like a iPod and we used to play Linkin Park. And that was just our tune that got us in the zone before going out there fighting.
Yeah.
And it stopped working. So everyone's like, oh, well, but I was like, this ain't right. Because
Yeah.
I hadn't told anyone yet. So I'm thinking, nah, this ain't right. So I'm trying to get myself ready, but I'm dropping my kit, keep dropping things. And as I stood up, I got head rushing. I was just like all over the place. And everyone's like, mate, just get ready. And I was like, mate, something's not right. Something's not right. So I shook everyone's hand. There's only like 6 of us. And I was like, mate, like something ain't right. Oh, mate, shut up and get ready. And I was like, nah, just get ready. So I got ready. And I didn't want to say, I think I want to die kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
but I was just like, something's not right. I couldn't tell the boss how I felt. Can I not go on patrol, please? Because I might get killed. Do you know what I mean? So you just have, even though people say to me, like, why don't you listen to your voice? Like, you have no choice to go out there anyway.
Yeah.
No one gets to stay behind because I don't feel very well today. Okay, you stay back, read a book or something. Like, no, you're fighting anyway. Get ready. We go outside. Well, we're already outside, but we kind of went out. Pitch black, about 4 or 5 in the morning. And we've got our night vision goggles on. So I put mine on, turn it on, and it's supposed to be like green and black. So the black things are people running around, let's say, and the green's just the area. But all mine was just pure green, so I couldn't see anything. It was too bright, if you know what I mean. Now, again, I'm thinking this ain't right because that voice, but to someone else, it's just like, oh, mate, don't worry about it, just follow me. But I'm like, no, mate, it's all added up kind of thing. So we get on this patrol and um, our team got mixed up because one guy was on leave. You get like 2 weeks break during the 6 month tour to go home and just clear your head a little bit. So one guy was away, so another guy replaced him. And this guy was an expert in blowing things up.
Yeah.
So the idea was he was going to blow up this part of this wall and we go into this compound and we go in there and see who's in there. So he was at the front and he was like, right, I'll organise it. I'll put the charges there and whatever. So there was a guy called Stuart who had a metal detector. Then you got me, I had a mini machine gun. And this guy called Mark, who was going to do the explosives, he had a normal rifle called an SA-80 rifle. It's the basic gun. And we're going to go over there, blow the wall up, go in. So we're running across. And as we get closer, there's already like a big hole in the wall. So we don't actually need Mark anymore, really, because we don't need to blow anything up. But there's no point now running back, obviously, to swap him with someone else. We're already there now. So we're running across, and Stuart's got a metal detector doing this. And we get maybe 10, 15 meters away. I'm now locked on, thinking if anyone's obviously in there, I've got to get ready. And Stuart just trips over a little bit, but I couldn't see anything. It was not perfectly flat ground, but there was nothing to trip over. So I was like, that's really weird. I thought, fine. When he hits the deck, I'll just run around and take over, obviously. So I was just waiting for him to hit the ground. I saw him going down, and I was thinking, as soon as he goes down, I'm going around him, and I'll just carry on. And he got maybe half a meter from the ground before here we go, and then just boom.
Oh, wow.
And then I thought I was upside down, and I thought I was caught in a tree. So I was looking up, and there was this big branch where my foot was like caught in it. So I was trying to like get my foot out of the branch, And each time I blinked, it would be there, then it would disappear, then it would be there and disappear. So I was like, what's going on there then? And I kind of like reached up to get it again, then it was gone. So I got basically blown up in the air, but I assumed hanging upside down, I must have been caught in a tree, but I wasn't. I just thought it must have been that. So then I hit the ground, my helmet was gone. It literally felt like, like an elephant stood in your chest.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that, but it felt like a person was stood on my chest. So I could breathe a bit, but not well. I was like really trying to catch my breath. My face was really hot, and I thought, right, get my weapon because of like so much just happened. I sat up, and as I sat up, my right leg came up, and my whole shin bone was sticking out with no foot on the end. And I was like, no way. And I could feel a bit of pain, but not major. So, and I was alive, obviously. I thought, how can you survive that? So I must either be dead or it's a dream. So
Yeah.
I thought I'll lie down again and just wait a minute. Then I might wake up in a minute and think, bloody hell, I had this nightmare or whatever. But so I was just lying there for a minute and nothing was happening. I was still awake and I was like, shit, I'm not waking up again. So I thought I'll touch it and see if that wakes me up from the dream, if you know what I mean? So I leant forward and I just tapped like the inside of what was left of my knee. And the pain was just horrendous and full on woke me up.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, this is actually real. And that's when I started panicking a bit. But then just as I was panicking, I heard, at first I thought it was like an animal making this weird noise, but it was Stuart over there somewhere, just like grunting and groaning. I didn't know what happened to him. And I was like, right, I need to get to Stuart because I could see I was bleeding out quite a bit. So I thought I'll try and crawl to Stuart. So I rolled onto my front and I started crawling. And then I realised I had a bit of a tingly feeling in my little finger here. So I went to look at my hand and I noticed I had a hole in my forearm. And I was like, oh. So then I could see dirt getting inside of it and it was getting right in there as well. And I thought, if that gets infected, then it's gone anyway. So I thought, right, I need to figure out how I'm going to crawl to Stuart without using my forearm, which is all I was using. I thought, use my left arm. So as I looked, my left arm wasn't really there. It was like wrapped from my back a bit. So I thought, oh, that's weird. So I kind of pulled it round and that really hurt. And then my arm was all twisted and all mangled. It was just a dead arm, still somehow slightly attached. So I was like, oh God, both arms are done, my leg's gone. So I roll back onto my back, still not able to breathe properly. I tried to undo my body armor, but didn't have the strength at the time. And then, yeah, my left leg had a big hole in my groin. The inside of my kneecap was like blown out. Had a big piece of metal sticking out of me as well. And literally like just some flies started like coming around. And as I was swiping it away like this, I saw this big, looked like a bit of steak. And it was some part of my body just over there. And I just thought I'm dead. So I just gave up really. And then after about 5 minutes, I could still hear Stuart making some noises. And then I just, right, I'll at least get to Stuart and probably just die over there. So I started crawling to Stuart and then I was in like a little bit of a ditch and then I forgot to lift my bone off the ground. So it scraped across the lip. And I think I must have fainted or something. So I woke up and I hadn't moved. And I knew that I'd been there for at least a minute. Yeah, so I managed to, once I recovered from passing out, I got to Stuart. It took me a little while. Stuart was trying to make his way to me, but it hurt his back quite bad. There's blood everywhere on both of us. I weren't sure what his injuries were because just both of us, I knew what mine were, but his just too bloody. So, but we tried to put, or he tried to put a tourniquet on my leg and he got some of it on, but couldn't tighten it because bit of shock, just weak. Both of us just a mess. I was like, oh, because that could have maybe saved my life. Even though I thought I was going to die, I thought there might be a chance, but now it's like, nah, I am definitely going to die. So then there was like game over. The other guy, Mark, I just saw him like coming for this like dust cloud, almost like in a movie, really, but kind of like crawling through a bit. Like he had a big slice across his throat and some of his face was gone. And he was like, "Whoa," saying something, but all the noise was coming out of the hole in his face kind of thing. So not like no direction to it, just whoa. And I was like, I didn't know what he was on about. And he kept going on and he kind of crawled off a bit. And as he crawled off a bit, that's one of the lads who was looking for us in this massive dust cloud saw Mark's head poking out of it kind of thing. Thought, right, they're over there. because we got blown up here, but ended up over there and over there kind of thing.
Mm.
And obviously with the dust, you can't just run in there in case there's more mines, everyone gets blown up. So what happened was there was a mine and 3 rockets in a wall, and the mine was triggered, blew up, and it triggered the other 2 rockets. I think if the third one went off, we'd all probably be dead. But
Rockets. What? I know
just
what a
like
mine is, but not a rocket.
yeah, just a normal rocket, maybe from a plane or an RPG, so 185 from a gun.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes they dig them up if they haven't exploded, or they get the bomb themselves and they just move them around.
Mm.
So Russia dropped millions of mines years ago when they fought in Afghanistan,
Mm.
and not all of them exploded. So they sometimes pick them up, rebury them over here. So it's not all Taliban mines. It's probably a Russian mine that I got blown up by.
Yeah.
But they use them. Yeah, we all got rescued, chucked on the back of a quad bike trailer, which is our version of an ambulance out there, because the ground's like this. So you got a quad
Mm.
bike trailer on the back. Our bodies get dumped in there and get put on one of those Chinook helicopters
Yeah.
that flew us back to where I originally began, Camp Bastion. And there they try and fix you, as in save your life. So they chopped off my leg, chopped off what was left of my arm. This, by now I was asleep.
Mm.
They sorted out Stuart, sorted out Mark. From there, you go on one of those big Hercules, the grey
Yeah.
aeroplanes. It's like a hospital plane, basically. And then that took us back to the UK. And luckily, we all survived that trip. I woke up in Selly Oak. I didn't know where I was, but because there was a nice white ceiling, I knew I was kind of safe.
Mm.
Because obviously that ain't how it was before. So
Yeah.
um, I just worked out I was safe. Stuart, he was away somewhere. I don't know where he was. And then Mark, he was beside me in bed. This was in intensive care. But Mark woke up confused. He still thought we we're in Afghanistan.
Mm.
And even though he was being told, obviously, you're not, he couldn't see past it.
Mm.
So during the night, he'd sneak out of his bed and try and rescue me. And
Oh.
like, he'd like rip the wires out of my neck and stuff. And like, right, we gotta go, we gotta go. And I'm like lying there, like, nah, I can't move, kind of thing.
Is that
PTSD.
yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
that
post-traumatic
passive.
stress
Yeah.
disorder. So that was the early signs of that. But
Oh.
no one spoke about it back then, and it weren't
Mm.
taken too seriously back then. So they just looked at Mark as a bit of a psychopath or something.
Mm.
So rather than like help him, he just got dismissed over there somewhere, put in a separate room, whatever. I got moved as well. And Stuart had the same thing in the end. He ended up killing himself, actually, Stuart did. But yeah, so like it affected everyone kind of differently. I think because my injury was so bad physically,
Mm.
mentally, I didn't have a chance to let that side of it affect me, the
Yeah.
PTSD. If it weren't so bad, I would have had a lot more time to think about how I really
Mm.
felt. But I was so focused on my limbs missing and my career now being over, I didn't really think about it. So yeah, I got out of intensive care, got moved to my own room in burns and plastics, where I had another like 10, 15 surgeries, some life-threatening kind of ones or life-saving, and some like closing scars over and pulling out bits of shrapnel, bits of metal. Um, and yeah, had a little cry with my dad and my uncle, not in front of my mum. And then I just, mum was obviously I wasn't okay, but are you all right, kind of thing. I just went, yeah, I'm fine. And I just went down that route there. Once I'd said I was okay,
Mm.
I didn't want to then go back on it and start crying the next day, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just told myself I was okay, and then kind of forced myself to believe it. And that kind of helped for a few years. Because from there I went to Headley Court, where you get your prosthetics, your
Mm-hmm.
limbs, and you're just in a room full of like loads of amputees. Someone's blind. That person got burnt to a crisp. A bomb went off and got burnt. This person's got no legs, one arm, no arms. All these weird, bad injuries that you can imagine.
Yeah.
But you, because when someone gets killed, people forget that they're not on their own. So if a bomb goes off and someone dies, there's going to be now loads of versions of me around. Do you know what I mean? So when you go there, it's loads of versions of me.
Yeah.
Amputees everywhere, wheelchairs, prosthetic legs, false eyes, and someone's been burnt and you've never seen anything like it, kind of thing. Just loads of that. Um, and it is weird getting your head around it, but also not the well, I suppose it is a good thing when you see someone walking.
Mm.
At least you think, oh, I should be able to walk in the future, kind of thing. So it's kind of something to look forward to. But at the same time, I was walking 3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
so it should be nothing new, and like it's kind of like starting again. So like that's what I found the most challenging. Like I've walked before, I've ran before, and now I've got someone saying, take one step, you know,
Yeah.
move forward. And you're like, oh man, you know, I got myself dressed one morning and it surprised the nurses.
Mm.
Oh my God, Ben's got himself dressed. And she ran off, Kerry, Kerry. Kerry comes in, oh my God, Ben. And you're just like, they mean well by it, but you know,
Mm.
you're like, oh, I was a Royal Marines commando 5 minutes ago,
Yeah.
fighting in Afghanistan. And now nurses are running down the corridor because Ben got himself dressed. And you're just like, oh, and it's trying to get your head around that side of it as well.
Mm.
And is that whole kind of like, you got a disability, so you shouldn't be able to do anything. So when you do something, everyone's like, wow, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then you think, I'm now that dude. Do you know what I mean? Not that I
Yeah.
ever looked at anyone in a bad way like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'm the dude where people look at me and maybe think, oh, you're so brave because you're walking down the street, kind of thing. How brave are you? You're a hero. And you're just like, oh, yeah, got my limbs, and walking's not that difficult. It's new. So it's not hard. It's just new.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting your head around what to do, how to kick your leg out and all that. But once you're walking, It's now a case of you need to now get used to the idea that you're going to be in civilian street now, civvy street we call it. You're going to get medically discharged from the Royal Marines,
Mm.
and you're only like 20 odd. You might live to your 80. So you've got to figure out how you're going to live like this out there. And the only way to know is if you go out there and live. So stress.
So I have a question. With obviously you had to learn how to walk and things. Did you still have, I don't know what you call this, I guess, like the memory of your foot being there? Did it
Yeah.
still
It's
feel
called
like it's
like
there?
phantom limb pain and
Oh, okay, yeah.
sensation. So for example, I can still move with my fingers in this
Yeah, because I
arm.
was saying like when you move
Yeah.
that arm moves.
Yeah, because years ago it was the same length as in here,
Yeah.
as in my invisible hand,
Oh, okay.
and over the years it's crawled up to here,
Mm.
so it's right on the end of my stump now. But
Yeah.
years ago it was right down there, and because I've got all the nerves that control my hand, that's when I gesture. I still do this.
Yeah.
If you get it chopped too high,
Mm.
you won't really do it because the nerves are all gone. But I wouldn't reach out to grab that with this
Yeah.
because I'm used to it now.
Mm-hmm.
But when I do gesture, like in my like when I'm doing this, like both hands are doing this. If you know
Both
what I mean.
hands, yeah.
Um,
Is it the same with your legs as well?
Not so much. I can feel my foot, but I can't move any of my toes.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I get like a sharp stabbing pain in there.
Mm.
And it feels right down there,
Mm.
but I can't move. I can't move any toes or anything
That
like
is
that.
insane.
Yeah,
Like that is it's crazy what the brain
it is.
can
Yeah,
do.
and you can take like medication to try and help it, and it helps it a bit, but also makes you really drowsy and this and that. Then you're advised not to drive or to do this, and then so it kind of ruins everything else, if you know what I mean. So I'd rather feel it and be free to just crack on than not feel it,
Yeah.
but I'm a bit all over the place. And so yeah, like that was challenging a bit, but my main focus was, you know, like how am I gonna live on my own and like meet a
Mm.
girl, or do you know what I mean, like all
Yeah.
those kind of things, because it does go on, like you do think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys never had a girlfriend anyway, and now they lost both their legs or whatever, and I'd never even seen an amputee before I was injured. So do people even like still date an amputee? Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you just don't know. So like that was like one of my bigger worries, if you know what I mean. And yeah, just all these different things and how to get dressed for myself, cook, clean, travel.
Mm.
Um, Everyone wants to help you, but at some point you've got to be on your own and figure it out. So I managed to get on top of it pretty quick, just because I was forced to, because I deliberately moved out. And then when you're on your own, you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
So the more I did that, the more I figured it out, and it's not easy, but I do everything fine. It just takes that a little bit longer,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I've got to think, actually, I might need two hands for that. I've only got one, so maybe if I did this and came back to get that, that's how I have to think.
Yeah.
And again, you get used to it, and it was fine, and did really well. I ran the London Marathon a year later. Um, Felt fine in myself, mentally, physically, emotionally, in the best place I could be, considering what had happened to me. You know, the lads came back from Afghanistan after their tour. A few guys had been killed, some more guys injured, but my main friends, they were all kind of safe, really. Um, so that was kind of okay.
How do they tell your, I guess, next of kin, or if you're younger, your parents, that you were either killed or injured?
A message they sent a message out to Plymouth or wherever you're from, the barracks somewhere. And it's weird because my best friend's dad used to work on the gates. And he had a call sign kind of thing come through saying like being this and that, you know, injured or whatever, coming back to Plymouth. And he was like, that can't be who I've known since he was a kid growing up, best friend with my son. But so he was the first person to actually know. And he was like, I can't say anything to Sean. So then my family had two guys knock on the door in uniform. I think it was one priest actually, one guy in uniform. So my little sister answered it and was like, Mum, Dad, there's like an army guy at the door. And they had an attic bedroom at the time. And they were like, army guy? Like, what on about? And then they clicked like, no. So they didn't think, oh, he's been injured. They assumed it means death. So they come flying down the stairs, looked out the window, saw it was real. Then he ran straight back upstairs because they were like, nah, we can't deal with that. So they were just stood there for like 10, 15 minutes outside just waiting. Eventually, my dad came down and they were like, he's not dead yet, but he's dying. So you need to get in the car now and get to Selly. By the time they got there, I was in intensive care and I was on the verge of death for about 2 or 3 days. Then I started getting a little bit better. I'm not sure if they changed it now. But I'd probably think it's someone out of respect still turns up at your door, not over the phone, if you know what I mean.
So how long were you, I guess, in your Marine career before your injury?
About 3 years.
Oh, wow.
So
it's not very long time.
basically.
No, yeah.
And
that was your first tour?
Yeah. And I spent the same amount of time really in rehab and then trying to get over these injuries because they have to tick all these boxes before they let you go, if you know what I mean. The only thing they can't really tick is your mental health because you don't know when that's going to kick in. It may never kick in. So yeah, I was discharged in an okay state.
Do they have like, it's probably far-fetched, obviously with the job it's a very high risk of you actually being injured, or I would say death, but more injured. Do they have like, okay, well you can't physically fight, but is there something that they say, okay, well,
Like a desk job, I think.
yeah, like,
yeah, the problem they had was there were desk jobs around, which someone has to do anyway.
yeah,
But there were so many injured guys, you can't give everyone a job. Because then it's like, well, he got a job. Well, there's only 3 desk jobs and there's 50 of you injured. Do you know what I mean? So it was either everyone in, and what do we get that person there doing with no legs? Yeah, if you I don't know, count how many boots we've got in the store, and do they want to even do that?
yeah,
So it was like all in or all out, and it was all out. So anyone who got seriously blown up like myself, just get out. Plus, I knew that if I stayed in, I didn't join to do a desk job anyway. When you get older, you decide to leave or whatever. You don't want to be on the front line. So you might take a desk job and just do your last couple of years. But you're not a young 20-odd-year-old lad thinking, I want to sit here and hand out a t-shirt. You know, I need a medium t-shirt. And there you go. Do you know what I mean? So it was just like, no. So I was, by that time, I was discharged. I was happy to leave. I'd accepted I'm now going to be a civilian. So yeah, didn't come as a surprise. And I was mentally ready to take on Civvy Street.
In terms of like career and stuff like that, what do you think you want to do, or what are you doing now at the moment?
Yeah, so I bought some property years ago. So that was one way of getting another income. You get a little pension as well. Not like I don't have to work or anything. So it just covers like some basic costs really, takes a bit of pressure off.
If you're in the army, you get a pension, but if you get discharged, you just get it. Well,
no, so if you do 22 years, you get a pension.
Okay.
If you get injured, you get like a military pension.
Oh, okay.
So it's almost like your pension early, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I also insured myself as well. So I got a couple of quid through my own personal insurance.
Oh.
Because it costs like 60-odd pound a month. And here's the problem, like you don't get paid that much money, or you didn't back then. So if you don't get injured and you're spending 60-odd pound a month on insurance, it eats into your wages quite a bit.
Yeah.
So some lads are like, oh mate, I want to take a risk and not get insurance. And I've saved myself an extra few hundred quid. And I was like, but what if you get injured though? And then like 2 or 3 days before, I thought, I'm just going to pay it anyway, just in case.
Yeah.
And luckily, thank God I did. Because some guys obviously don't. But yeah, so I was doing that. I'll do public speaking as well. So I'll speak to like kids or businesses or whatever around the country. I've been on cruise ships as well. So I've actually been traveling the world doing that recently. But I had a bit of a break. So, you know, PTSD thing. So mine eventually caught up with me. About 9 years after everything happened, I was literally sat on the toilet and that same voice came back and said,
Mm.
you have to go and kill yourself. And I was like, what? But it came back again, like, as in my voice, and you have to go and kill yourself. Not, shall we? It was like, you have to do it, like, now.
Yeah.
And then it disappeared again. And then it kept coming back, like 5, 6 times a day. That led to what the doctor said was anxiety and panic attacks.
Mm.
And each time I had like a panic attack, it would drain me. So I'd have it for like only like 4 or 5 minutes. Well, I couldn't really lift my arms, couldn't move, probably can't breathe properly. But then for 2 or 3 hours after, I was just like, oh. So if I have like one in the morning, one in the afternoon, one in the like the whole day's kind of gone.
Yeah.
And that started to like get on my nerves a bit. You know, like people kind of go, "You all right?" You're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." But it must annoy people when you can't do anything. You're always like, ugh.
Mm.
So then that pressure built up. So in the end, even though I had a home, I ended up living in my car on Dartmoor. Just couldn't be around people. And I couldn't be asked to explain how I felt either, because I didn't really know either. I just knew that my mind was saying, kill myself. I
Yeah.
never wanted to, but my mind was telling me I should go and do it like now. And it got worse and worse and worse. And in the end, I came home to get something. And apparently, I don't remember this, but I was talking like gibberish and on about getting weapons together and all of this and fighting and get the weapons together. And then I fell down my stairs and just jumped up as if nothing even happened. Jumped in the car and just drove back on the moors. And I used to just like drink on the moors. So I'd just get like loads of beer in the back, maybe a pack of biscuits, and I'd just spend all day, all night in my car just drinking beer. That's what I did for about a year. And then one day I went to the doctors because my family were like, you need to get help kind of thing, like, or else you're literally going to die.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, probably quite immature really, but I thought they'd give you some medication that just fixes you kind of thing. They're like, oh, nah, it takes like at least 2 or 3 weeks to get into your system. And then you might have to change the dosage. You might not get on with this, maybe that. And I was thinking, by the time I've gone there, I had about a day left to live kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Because I was
Yeah.
ready to go. So I was like, no. So I got these, whatever medication was, like gabapentin, some tramadol, this, that, and the other. And I thought, if I take like two of them, it's going to get in my system, but not do anything yet. I haven't got that time. So I just dashed them in the glove box, drove back out to the moors, sat there drinking beer again. Then I thought, actually, I could probably like swallow all of them and die because they're strong enough. Because with my issues, and especially as a veteran as well, anything I want, I can pretty much get medically
Yeah.
because they're just like, he's got PTSD. If I went in there and said, oh, I'm a bit depressed, I need 8,000 milligrams of this, they'd be like, there you go. So I just thought I could probably swallow all of them and just die. So I was debating on doing it, but then I Googled that if you did do it and survived, you're messed up, and it's really painful as well. So I got a bit scared. So then I drove down to a place called Tamar Bridge where I live. Massive, massive bridge to get you from Devon into Cornwall. And a few people who are going to kill themselves have jumped off there. You get one or two survivors, but that's where you jump if you're going to jump. It's just
Yeah.
like the sea below. And I was going to do it, I was thinking about it, but then some guy was walking his dog. It's like quite a long bridge. But rather than just walk his dog, he was letting it sniff everything, and he was taking ages. I didn't want to do it in front of him. I was waiting around for him to like go past, but he was letting his dog sniff this, sniff that. So I was like, man. And a police car came, and they sometimes sit on the roundabout and just a place to sit between Devon and Cornwall kind of thing. They might have to go down or up. So,
Yeah.
and I've been drinking as well. Hence why I had the courage to go down there in the first place. So I thought, shit, if I've got alcohol in my breath. So I just jumped in the car and drove off back to the moors. And then the same way that one day this voice came, the same day, one day it just left. So I didn't actually do anything to get rid of it. It just, I woke up one day and it didn't say anything. And I thought, because I didn't know what triggered it either. I just remember like moving really slow because I didn't know what triggered it. Did I move too fast? Was it the beer, or not drinking beer, or was it the food I ate? So I remember like spending weeks, if not months, just barely moving in case it triggered it again. And it then just disappeared. And now, every so often, the voice will come back and I'll tell it to do one and it goes away. It's almost like it's testing me. Like,
Yeah.
do you want to kill yourself now? Like, no, okay, fine. And it just kind of go, but every so often it kind of like tests me a little bit. But overall, I'm fine. I don't take any medication. I've been fine for years now. Bar a little voice here and there.
Yeah.
So that was a big period of my life where nothing was happening for me. Didn't speak to anyone about it, but I think people knew.
Yeah.
Well, probably hard not to know. They were waiting for me to say something, which I never was. They didn't want to say anything in case I flipped, if you know what I mean. So no one said anything, but I think without me saying, everyone knew that I went through some kind of crap, and then we just move on from it. And then yeah, now I've settled down a bit, and then I do, like as I said, I do public speaking. And it's mainly because I don't mind sharing. It's not a motivational talk or anything. It's just
Yeah.
what I'm doing now, just telling you literally what happened. And that's why I've done a few podcasts now. I'm only going to do about 5.
Yeah.
Because then you're just repeating yourself,
Yeah.
and once it's out there, it's out there. So,
Yeah.
but I just think just a different audience, and just as I say, it's not a motivation thing. It's just to say this is what one can happen and what 2 happened to me. I literally got blown up by a bomb, and I survived.
Good thing that you're still here and you can share your story. As you said, when you were younger, you just never thought it would be you, and obviously
No, and the thing
it
is,
can be you.
it's a lot. Let's say out of 1,000 men, maybe like 20 got blown up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are still in the Marines now, have a really good career. They spend the full 22 years in there. But someone will be that guy, and
Yeah.
that person was me.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming down to the stool today and
Pleasure.
sharing
Thank
your
you.
story. And that's a wrap.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Oh.